The views and opinions of the Nissan Nation podcast are simply that. They are views and opinions of its guests or hosts. They do not reflect Nissan corporate or otherwise. Now, a DRB and KGB media presentation, the Nissan Nation podcast. Hit it, Kelly.
Recorded live, coast to coast, it's the Nissan Nation podcast. From camping, racing, and all points in between. The NNP is your Nissan Nation podcast. Now start your engines and welcome in your hosts, David, Danny, and Holden.
What is going on, Nissan Nation? From All Things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee to wherever you're listening to us around the globe, this is your Nissan Nation podcast, and I'm your host, David Boyd. So, this is going to be a solo adventure today. We got this big interview I want to get out, and I'm kind of excited about it. We've got All Things Overland on board today, and if you haven't, go check out their YouTube channel, All Things Overland. Check out their website. It's just full of really good information, and I'm really excited about talking to Fletch. I did this interview, I want to say a couple months ago now. We've got a bunch of interviews coming up they're getting kind of old, but we've had things that we've had to get out, in a timely manner, and that's how it is. And but Fletch has been a good sport about it, and I promised him episode 101, and then obviously you're listening to us, we didn't get him there, so he's going to be 102, and 102 episodes. That trips us out, because who would have ever thought that honestly, God, I know me and Danny reflected on this on episode 100, but in our time of doing this, this was just a pipe dream of wanting to just talk our favorite cars and talk about the Xterra, the Frontier, the Maxima, the Titan, Altima, and all these fun cars that we have here in the States, and as well as when we can talk, when we've had our buddy Brent on with his R33, we've talked GTR. Whenever we get a chance to talk all kinds of cool things, we really. It's just blown us away that what you guys do with your vehicles, and that you're open up and talk to us about it. So, hats off to you guys for that, man. 2019 has been a big year for us. I can't say enough. Thank you to Nissan USA for sending us out on 2 trips this year. We did 2 Titan adventures, and if you haven't yet, and I preach this all the time. I get hit up all the time. Hey, how do you guys get to do that? Well, for one, we're media, so that's part of it. And 2, we're just on social media, we're a pretty positive entity. We like to speak. We call out things when I feel like we call out things when I don't think Nissan's doing something right, but overall we're pretty positive. And I've preached this before. We've had Titan friends. They go, "Hey man, I want to go on one of these trips, and how do you do it?" And wait a minute. Monster Energy. I need it today. But and I've said it before. You speak positive. There's a way to complain in a positive manner. And but for the most part, if you just show the love of your vehicle, they pick up on it, man. So any hashtags you use, especially on Instagram, Nissan loves Instagram. So hashtag Nissan Titan, whatever, about your Titan you like. But been very blessed to, the first of the year we went to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and did the initial, the prototype Titan adventure. And me and Danny just had a ball, man. Just really did. And of course, then, we went Windrock this year. Danny's had some adventures. Holden, they've been on adventures. And then, in November, we did the second Titan adventure there in Park City, Utah. And just, I really do. We feel blessed, man. I know 2020, we've got a bunch of things planned that we're wanting to do. And it all comes down to our YouTube channel anymore, guys. And, we love doing this podcast, and this is our first love, and it's always going to be our main thing. But it's hard to get funding on these podcasts because, everybody and their brother has one now. So when sponsors are looking at hey, where's my particular audience, much like Overlanders, they're all reaching for sponsors and wanting to get basically free things. Everybody thinks that, you get something for nothing, and truly you don't. We've partnered with a bunch of companies like Lifestyle Offroad, my buddy Luke over there. You hear us talk about him all the time, and guys, we still pay for things from those companies, even though they do scratch our back occasionally. Guess what? We're all small companies, so we do pay for things there. Niztec Lifts. Chris and the guys there in Colorado have been a huge supporter of what we do. Hell, we're on the side of their vehicle, so that should tell you something. But guess what? We still have to pay for parts. Granted, we get things at a discounted rate, but we still do pay for things. And there's excuse me, there's other companies like White Knuckle Offroad. John and Natalie over there, man, they've been huge supporters of anything that I've done, whether it be Xterra Nation when I did that, to Windrock, to the podcast. They've always been big supporters, and I appreciate that. And I also want to say I appreciate Instagrammers like Not a Jeep, obviously All Things Overland, guys like that. If you see on our Instagram people that we've thrown on there, like Regal Nissan and all that, there's a reason. It's because we believe in these companies. We love what they do. Like Not a Jeep. It's not necessarily all Nissan, even though they're Nissan based. It's just we really love what they do and want to show support to people like that. And I encourage you guys, if there's somebody like that you want, that's what makes social media great. Is I've met so many people and I've never met them. I feel like I know a ton of people, and a lot of them I get to meet just because, if I'm in your area, I'm going to reach out to you, or generally you guys reach out to us. But it's the wonderful thing about social media. So, be positive on there, guys. I know I hate to even get into this, but we've got election times coming up, and it's friend against friend. And at the end of the day, guess what? What they do there doesn't generally affect us too hard. So don't be too angry at your friend, no matter what side they vote on. So anyways, Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. Happy holidays from everybody here at the Nissan Nation podcast. I always put this a lot in the social media, but everybody does party this time of year, and I don't blame you. I mean, I'm getting older, so partying's a little harder for me anymore. But if you're going to drink, please don't drive. We love our Nissan vehicles, and I hate to see anybody out there ruining their vehicle or messing up somebody else's life. So, Uber, Lyft, use them, guys. It's pretty inexpensive anymore, and I really do think those are good things to help. I'm sure they've saved a bunch of lives, and they don't. That wasn't their intent. Or just if you have a friend, man. Have a designated driver. It means a lot to us. We don't want to see, anybody get hurt. And I want to see everybody enjoy their Nissans for 2020. So that's my good deed of the year. So anyways, 2020, we've got some big things coming up. We wanted to be at Detroit this year, Detroit Auto Show, but guess what? They moved it. Normally it's in January, but now it's going to be, I believe it's in June. Which I'm still hoping to make it up there for, because that's the granddaddy of all auto shows for the States. But our first one this year is going to be the Chicago Auto Show, and super pumped about it. I got a bunch of information from Chicago Auto Show actually today, and we're signed up ready to go because I think there's going to be some fun things around that time. But it's just, for one, I've never been to Chicago, so it's like, hey, there's a chance to go to Chicago, and it's an auto show. So I'm kind of curious to see what Nissan, I know Nissan, they were talked about they're going to refresh 80% of their brand, and I believe it's within this next year and a half. So I would think almost at every auto show there should be something fun. Of course, I have no idea what they're, dropping on each one currently, but if we find out, we're going to let you guys know. Let's see, we've got, there's Gone Moab again this year, and for those that know, I was pretty down on that event. Their leadership, that leadership is gone, and it's tickled me. It's just made me super happy that particular person is gone. You find out that they potentially a lot of embezzlement, and I'll leave it at that. But they were not the person that everybody thought they were, and they pillaged that event and then moved on to, I guess, pillage another event. But they have great leadership back. They've got a guy named Leland Merrill. He's never ran one of these events like this, but for the love of Nissan brand, he took it back over. And with the help of some of the old school guys like Josh and Kevin, they're really trying to get it back to what it used to be, what people really loved. And I'm super pumped about it. I'm going to try to be out there again this year. I always said that I would show support to that event once things changed, and they've changed. And so if you're into Nissan and you're into off-roading and you really want to see what Moab is about, go check them out at gonemoab.com. All the socials, Gone Moab. I know that they've had a couple hiccups already, but don't let that get you down on that event, man. They really mean to bring that event back to what it was. You know, off-road events in general, and it's something we try to do with our own with Windrock. They shouldn't be about fancy dinners and all that. You know, it's about being out. You're getting dirty with your truck. And you're, you know, it's the camaraderie and everything of people that like the same thing you do. So I'm happy to see that event kind of, from what I've been told, going back to its roots. So check out Gone Moab. And, you know, if it's your first time, tell them the NNP sent you over that way. Also, let's see, what else do we got going on, man? We got all kinds of adventures coming up. The podcast Titan is about to disappear, guys. It's moving on to somebody else. Let's see, March or April, I believe, is when my lease is up on that truck. And kind of curious what I'll get next. If you guys are curious about it, you know, post up and ask. I have somewhat of an idea, but nothing I can talk about at the moment. At one time, there was talk of me getting a Jeep, believe it or not. And my daughter wants to ride around town with no doors on and all that, blah, blah, blah. And I do love the old JKs. But, you know, the talk was, well, we need to, for the new podcast that we're trying to launch with Truck Life, that maybe, you know, we need to kind of have some different brands. But I think common sense and just knowing what's coming down the pipeline, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to wait. I think I can wait a few months after I turn in my lease and potentially if there's a new Frontier that's coming down the pipeline, you know, we want to be one of the first to do that. We want to be one of the first to start modifying these things and show you guys what that truck will be really capable of when it comes out. So there's that on my mind. I really feel like there's an SUV coming too. And this is all speculation, but I really do feel like that, you know, Nissan needs partner vehicles to build these things. And the Frontier's been without a partner for a long time, but it's also been since 2015, it had the Xterra that, you know, divided the cost in half. So it's all profit anymore for them on that truck. So I really feel like if they're going to do a Generation 3 Frontier, they need a partner for it. So I've not heard one thing about this. And, you know, everybody knows about, the Frontier is going to come in another one, but what if there was something else, maybe a Patrol or maybe a Xterra or something like that? I don't know. Once again, this is just speculation. So, but my plans for 2020 are going to be a new vehicle in the driveway. And of course, we're going to bring you all kinds of info about it. You guys have been huge for us on that aspect of when I did the review, what it was like to own the Titan for 2 years. Man, I'm well over, I think, 23,000 views on that video, which in the YouTube world is not huge, but it is for Nissan in general because you know there's not a ton of just Nissan specific YouTube channels out there. And of course, if you go over there and help subscribe to our channel, this is all coming back around. So when you subscribe to our channel, you know, YouTube has the way of, we need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time to be able to get any kind of chance of being funded from the AdSense money. And I would have never thought. We started the year January with 97 subs, and we've had this channel since 2015, but for, I don't know, whatever reason, me and Danny just never put a ton of value in it. We wanted to, but you get busy. Danny started his race truck. We just didn't put a lot of value into it until the first of the year. I decided that, hey, we're going to make a go at YouTube. I really think it's a different audience. I know a lot of you guys are on there, or you ladies are on there, but it is a different audience. And so we've really pushed this year to kind of get into that. And I think as of right now, we're 846, something like that. But if you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. When you subscribe, it's just helping us get it one step closer to getting into the ad money. And like I said before, a lot of the sponsors that you've heard us mention on the shows, they're not giving us tons of money to be sponsors on here. So the easiest way for the show to be funded, I think, is through the Google AdSense money, the YouTube money. So we're almost there. We're well over watch hours. That one video with the 23,000, the Titan video, that's almost half of the watch hours we needed. And I would have thought it'd been easier to get subscribers than it would to meet that watch hours goal. And as of now, we're almost 4,400 hours watched, so we're well over what we need for that. But I need people like you to hit the old subscribe button. And if you have 2 YouTube accounts, hit the subscribe button. And if you're really cool, man, smash that bell. Anytime we drop a video, you're going to get an email about it, let you know, so you can be one of the first to watch it. And what really helps too, if you are a current subscriber, if you'll hit that like button when we do something, the first 24 to 48 hours we drop a video, that's the most important time. That's when Google Analytics pushes, they're like, here's something that somebody's going to be interested in. And when you smash that like button, it just keeps that clock rolling. So it turns from 24 to 48. And if we continue to do that, it just keeps us up for the next few days. And to people who would want to know Nissan that may not be aware of the podcast, it helps us get their attention, and maybe they'll subscribe. And and it really does help. And after about that first 48 hours, the way Google works now or the way YouTube works now, they just dump the video. Like you're still searchable, but you're just not in their recommended list. And so we've worked really hard to get where we're at. And we only need a few more. And I had a goal of January 1st of hitting that 1,000 mark. It doesn't look like I'm going to hit it, but it's not because we haven't tried. And I feel like we probably will warn you guys out about it a little bit. But anyways, so our interview this week, since there's not the end of the year, all automakers after November when LA Auto Show drops, they go into a limp mode. Their trucks and cars just don't want to go anymore. And I don't blame them. I know what our friends over there at Nissan PR do, man. They're on the go 24/7. They're just running like crazy. And the idea of a month of downtime is probably pretty good to them. So it's not to say that these people aren't working currently, but the auto industry sort of pauses in December, and they're charging their batteries for the first of the year. So there's not been a ton of news, but our buddies over at All Things Overland, my buddy Fletch over there, man. I watched this guy on YouTube when I think he had just like 100 and something subs. Like it was very, very, he just started his channel. And we're always looking for, I won't say talent, but we kind of are. We're always looking for people that we might be able to partner with in some way and just help each other. And I've really wanted to see this guy's channel grow because, for one, he's excellent on the mic. When you hear him talk, man, he's well thought out, much better than what me and Danny do. But he just has really cool topics. Whether it's an overlanding channel, yes, but he's based off of a Nissan Xterra, and I really love all the things he does to this thing. And he's just trying out new products. Whether it be knives, any kind of little overlanding gear, stuff like that. He hit me to a mic that he was testing out that I use now in my vlogging stuff. So there's a lot of good content with All Things Overland, and his big thing is YouTube. Once again, that's where everybody, to be funded. That's the easiest way to do it. But so real info from real overlanders, which is the truth. The guy's camping out in his vehicle all the time. You'll find everything from gear reviews to vehicle mods to trip reports here. Interested in getting into overlanding, unsure what it is? Check out my videos to learn more about it. This channel is focused on bringing budget-minded advice for how to get into overlanding and how to get the most bang for your buck. And that's the truth, man. The guy, he's not throwing, $4,000 tents on the top of this truck or everything he has done. He's got a budget lift on this thing, and he's really doing it for like most should. I know a lot of people, especially maybe the Toyota and Jeep communities, they can, for some reason, they just seem to have a lot of money where they can just go, okay, I instantly need my truck on 35s. And you don't learn off-roading, overlanding by just throwing the best of everything on there and you have the ultimate rig and you go out and do it. Clearly there was something going around social medias this past week where a guy with a rooftop tent, bumpers and everything, driving on street tires, went out in the desert, out in the Vegas area in a dry lake bed and was stuck. Then he ended up getting a bunch of people stuck trying to get him out. And I don't know, it was kind of the funniest thing I've ever seen of the panic post that kept popping up. But hopefully they got that guy out. But it just shows like you got to earn your way there. And channels like All Things Overland, I think they're really showing people, hey, here's the step. Everybody wants the bumpers and all that, but maybe we focus on getting the truck up in the air a little more, or better tires, or so he's really going at it like that. And then he's real world stuff that you would use, whether it be he put a solar panel on the hood of his truck, and it's really cool. He's really trying to be self-efficient when he's out on the trails. So let's get into our interview with All Things Overland, and this is from a couple months ago, but that doesn't mean it's not great. My buddy Fletch, All Things Overland on the Nissan Nation podcast. All right, so tonight, whenever you're listening to this, we have Mr. Fletch with All Things Overland. What's going on, man?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So I don't even remember how you came across our radar. Probably just through Instagram, or just somehow you see Nissans and you're like, oh, we gotta all like each other. We're such a small group. You gotta like each other. But you're really more than just Nissans. You're All Things Overland, man. Tell us, what do you do?
Sure. Yeah. So I am a Nissan fanatic at heart. So I've had probably 7, 8, 9 Nissans now in the last 10 or 12 years. So I do love Nissans, and I think you're right. I think it was Instagram where I think I saw you, and then I saw that you had a podcast, and I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm starting a podcast too, and started following and engaging with you there. But as far as All Things Overlanding, I've been doing it for about 3 years now, but really got serious this year, probably, as far as trying to take as many trips as possible. Mm-hmm. The main sort of focus of the channel is it's kind of a combo of a few things. It's got to be a little broad to cover all things overlanding, right? But it's a lot of trip reports. So, again, trying to go on a lot of different trips and give as much good information for people maybe looking to go to those spots. It's gear reviews, a lot of that too. So I'm a gear buff. I like gear. Yeah, most overlanders do. So I do a lot of gear reviews, and then vehicle modifications too. So, as you mentioned, I'm a Nissan guy. I have a 05 Xterra SE, and it's getting fairly modified now at this point. So like talking about that stuff too. Right.
So if I remember right, watching your channel, you kind of, for one, the Xterra is a budget vehicle. It seems to be pretty budget friendly for overlanders, right?
Yeah. It's really effective as an off-road vehicle. Like, I had before my first 4-wheel drive vehicle was a 2000 Jeep Cherokee XJ, with an 8 1/4 in the rear, Dana 30 in the front, totally unlocked, but threw a 3-inch lift on it, 31s. And that thing was surprisingly impressive.
Right.
But so then, more recently I was like, I want to go off-roading again. I want to use a 4-wheel drive vehicle as sort of a daily so I can get anywhere I want to. But I'm a Nissan guy. So I was like, what am I going to do? Am I going to buy a QX56 or an Armada? No, probably not.
Right.
The only real thing that makes sense is the Xterra. So that was kind of the reason for picking that up.
Right. And the current Pathfinder is not really overland friendly, I don't think.
Yeah. I mean, that extra space would be nice, but then you just got longer overhangs, so it's just, the Xterra was perfect for me.
Right. So, before the interview, we were talking, like you said, you've owned a lot of Nissans, right? Kind of go through the list of what you've owned.
Sure. So yeah, the first one, I'll keep it short because I could talk about each one for about 20 minutes probably. But first one was an 03 Sentra SER Spec V. That was kind of what got me into Nissans. I actually leased that vehicle, so I had it for 3 years, and then I turned it back in. And then at that point I said, you know what, I don't want to keep leasing vehicles. I want to modify one. I want to buy one. So then I got an 03 350Z. It was just a year or two old, about 16,000 miles on it. Did full suspension to it, brakes, intake test pipes, exhaust, full chassis bracing and everything. Went off-roading, went overland, messing it up. Went autocrossing and road course racing in that a bunch, and loved that car to death, and had that for about 4 years, which is a pretty long time for me to own a car.
Right.
And then finally sold that. While I had it though, I realized how impractical it was in the winter. So I bought a 1995 Infiniti G20.
Nice.
Which is just my little front wheel drive beater.
Yeah, old school there.
Yeah, the SR20. It was a great car, but it was slow. It was an automatic, but I drove that for about 3 years while I had the 350Z, and then sold both of them, and then took that cash and bought an '04 Infiniti G35X that had a rear mount turbo on it. Had an STS rear mount turbo. So instead of a muffler, it was basically a turbo in the back, and then it piped all the air around to the front. It was about 300 all-wheel horsepower, 300 all-wheel torque. So it was quick. It was surprisingly quick.
Right.
So I had that for a few years, and then ended up trading that on the Honda Accord Sport 2013, which was a terrible decision. But I was commuting a bunch for work, and it was a nice car. It was just slow as molasses. So then I got rid of that, and then I got the Xterra. And then since having the Xterra, I paid that off like a year ago, and then I bought a newer Infiniti Q50 Sport. So that's kind of my two cars now, is the X and the Q.
Nice. Well, I mean, that seems like a whole new channel, X and the Q. That's like your
Oh, and I forgot one. I had a 72 Datsun 240Z with a Chevy 305 in it for about 6 months.
Oh, wow.
That was super fun.
I was gonna say that's a lot, even though that little 305 was kind of a small V8, but that's still going to be a lot.
Yep.
Yeah. So you wanted to get kind of back into off-roading, and like you said, the Xterra seemed to be like the obvious choice if you were into Nissan, because the R51, it's independent all the way around. I mean, even though it was a nice vehicle and you could get a V8 in that, and it's a practical size for off-roading, it's still, to me, that independent suspension just was like, it's not really practical.
Yeah, agreed. And I mean, there's a price point difference, right? So I was trying to be, my wife didn't really want me to get an SUV because she hates them, and it's a trucky SUV, right?
Sure.
So I was like, look, I can get this thing really cheap, and then I'll just like pay it off in a couple of years, and then I'll buy something that you'll like again. And so that's how I hooked her a little bit. And I think I picked this thing up. I mean, it had 94,000 miles. This was about 4 years ago. So 2015, 10 years old, and had about 94,000 miles. I was seeing them for about 10 to 12 everywhere. And I think I found a really rich guy near me that had when I pulled up to his house, he had a BMW 750 IL in the driveway and like a Range Rover, and then this Xterra.
So this was the kid's car.
Yeah, he's like, this is my daughter's car, and she wants an LR3, and I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, I want $7,500, and I was like, could you do $7,000? He was like, okay. So I think I just stole it for like $7,000. I've had it for 4 years now. I've put about 40,000 miles on it, driven it, West Virginia, Wisconsin, Kentucky, all over the place. And, it's just runs like a top. I've done some suspension stuff and a radiator, and that's about all I've had to do to it.
Yeah, so you protected yourself from the mighty SMOD, huh? So you went.
Yeah, oh yeah. When I bought it, that was the first thing I checked, and I was already good.
Right.
They'd already made the switch.
And those that don't know, SMOD is what they call strawberry milkshake of death. It's because they put a plastic intercooler into the radiator, because the transmission flows through the bottom of the radiator, and it cracks, and it mixes, and it just does all kinds of damage to your transmission. But anyways, so at least you kind of knew. Like, it sounds like you
I
knew
did my research. Yeah.
Yes. If you're doing this kind of channel, you're definitely doing research before you buy anything.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Well, so just looking at your videos so far, like you review everything. Like, what is the Luminoodle?
The Luminoodle is an awesome product.
Tell me, what is this thing?
So if you don't have a Luminoodle, go get a Luminoodle. It's like an LED light strip wrapped in like a sort of a rubber coating. Mm-hmm. So it's super tough and durable. The nice thing about it, though, is it has like a universal USB on the end of it.
Right.
So you can plug it in either way. There is no like wrong and right way. You can plug it in either way, but you can plug it into any USB power source. So like I use a power bank with it.
Right.
Just like a little power bank, and I'll just, Velcro it up to my awning, for example. And then you slap that Luminoodle around, and it puts out a ton of light. Like, for what it is and for the price, it puts out a ton of light. So if you're looking for something for like awning lighting or, like campsite lighting, tent lighting, that thing's pretty cool.
Right. And then let's say I'm kind of glancing at your channel right now, just looking for interesting. Mm-hmm. There's a Cabela dustpan.
Yes.
That's kind of neat. because tents get dirty. You need to clean them out.
No, I never really. It's funny too because like I've just like I was raised in Southern Indiana, and like my dad is one of those like Bobby Knight type characters where he's just like super hard on you.
So he threw a chair at you as a kid, huh?
Yeah. Yep. And so like I just was always like, well, I guess when the tent gets too dirty, we throw it away. Like it never occurred to me. And then I actually watched a buddy of mine's channel, and he did a review of his tent, and he had a dustpan, and I'm like, this thing's like $6 on Amazon. Why not just take care of my stuff? So exactly. I bought it. And I tell you what's funny too is people must be, I don't know that they're overlanders searching for that thing, but it's actually got a decent amount of views just because I think it's a pretty unique thing that not a lot of people have reviewed.
Right. So, right. Well, I mean, everybody can do a rooftop tent. That's an easy, every overlander wants to buy one anyway. So that's the first thing. There was a channel, this sounds horrible. There was some guy that I've watched today that somehow turned his gun channel into a Frontier channel. And like they were doing a review of they just got a rooftop tent, and they was doing a review on it, and like they did a top 5 thing of like it was basically every of the 5 questions why you should own it. It was the same thing, and then number 4 was just because they're cool, and I was like, well, that sounds like a lot of overlanding things I've watched is because it's just cool, but why not do it dustpans or
right.
Let's see, you've got lights and all kinds of stuff on there, man, but. Yep. But the cool thing, like, so I was watching the other day because I knew we were going to do this, and I watched a lot of your videos, but I needed a few refreshers. And your easy flares, that looked like a fun install because it's something that you need mud guards, and why not?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, as you probably know, then for the Xterra, because you've got a couple of them, there are no flares for those things. Right. There are like 2 guys that make them themselves, and they're really expensive, like $900 for a set of them, and they're fiberglass, so they're going to break as soon as you tap something. Yep. So I looked at all of those options, and I was like, man, you know how much stuff I could buy for $900? And the easy flares were about a little over $100. I was like, and they're flexible membrane. So I actually had them on the West Virginia trip that I took a month and a half or 2 ago. And I'm used to driving down the road with my arm on the, out on the window, just getting smacked with rocks the whole time. Right. And they actually did a really good job of keeping everything in the wells. So, and if you have legal concerns too, which I'm in Indiana, so there's not a lot. Right. But if you do, like, that'd be a quick, easy, cheap way to fix that, stretched past the fender flares.
Right. Well, you were talking about that. Me and my son with my Generation 1 Xterra, I just put some wider, not wheel spacers on it, but I bought new rims and forgot the back spacing was sticking out a little further. First mud hole where I'm used to kind of have my arm out, the windows down, and we plowed through there, and just both of our arms were just muddy as could be. And I was like, I need some flares, but nobody makes them. I'll never forget. Right. Oh man, it's been about 10 years ago. We were on Club Xterra, and we were trying to get who's the company that makes flares? Oh gosh, I can't think of it. But we were trying to get them to make them for the Xterra, and they're like, "Yeah, sure, we need 1,000 orders." And you're like, "Well,
whoa, that's not gonna happen."
Yeah, not with the Xterra. If that was like a Toyota deal, it'd been like, "Oh, no problem." But I was like, "Well, I'll never get those." But yeah. So your channel, like you're not just a Nissan, really. I mean, you're a little bit of everything.
Yeah. I try to, and it's kind of interesting. So. Again, with my renewed focus, right? So maybe, and we kind of talked about this before, but I've had the channel for about 3 years, but until about July of this year, I maybe had like 14 videos total, I think. And, I was kind of camera shy. I didn't really want to be in any of them. So it's kind of funny if you go back and watch, don't because they're terrible. But if you go back and watch the early ones, it's like, the truck driving through a water crossing, the truck parked at a campsite, and that's what it was. Right. And then it was like 2-minute long videos or 1.5 minute long videos of just like pictures with the Ken Burns effect zooming in and out on the pictures. Yes. And that was all it was. And I just did it for fun. And then a few months ago, I was like, you know what? I really enjoy this. I want to take more trips. I want to get more serious about it. I watched all these other guys' videos, right? Like, what's a few of them? I'm looking at all my stickers here, but like, like a Peach State Overland or any of those big guys, Overland Addict, Revere Overland is kind of a local one to me. Those guys all have these awesome epic videos, right? And they're just normal guys too. They're shooting it on their smartphones or maybe on a DSLR. Right. And I was like, man, you know what? I'm at least going to get started with my smartphone and see what I can do. And so I kind of got into it, and then I started using iMovie because I'm a Mac guy. And then I was like, okay, I've gotten pretty good at that. I'm going to move up to Final Cut Pro. And so now I've been using Final Cut Pro, and there's a lot more you can do with it. And again, I'm barely scraping the surface, right? Like, it's been a few months of editing videos for me. And I'm like, man, there's just so much you can do. So that's where the channel's kind of grown just naturally. Is like, I've got a few podcasts that I've done on how to do audio, just basic audio, right? How do you plug in, like, what kind of camera do you get, or what can you use with your smartphone with a mic, right? Like you and I have talked a little bit about that Comica deal. Because the smartphones nowadays too, with the cameras, like, I don't even have the iPhone 11 yet. I have the XR, but those cameras are really good.
Oh,
and
no,
you've always got it.
I'm itching for the new 11. Because I'm an Apple guy too. And yeah, the 11, man, especially for vlogging and stuff, that's just like, oh, I can't. Yeah. All right, we're nerding out on that, but
yeah. Sorry, everybody. Overlanding.
Sorry,
we're here for overlanding.
Yeah, we're not Mac. This isn't Mac Nation. But yeah, well, and like I hit you up the other day. I watched your video on that little mic, and I was like, I'm just gonna go buy it because I literally. Here's the thing: is I was looking for one. I'm a gear nut. Generally, anybody that, especially overlanding, you're just a gear nut. I mean, that honestly is probably 75% of the fun of overlanding is like buying new gear to go try. But so as far as like the building this channel, my YouTube channel and stuff, it was like, well, I've always had GoPros and stuff, but you need some better equipment every once in a while.
Right.
And honestly, I bought a DSLR and it's just been the biggest pain in the butt. Like it's because, well, for one, I'm cheap. So I bought a used. I'm normally a Nikon guy, but I bought a Canon T3i. And because you need for one, to set up your shots, if you're looking at the camera, you need that reversible view so you can see.
Right.
And it doesn't have autofocus. And it never dawned on me when I bought this camera, it did not have autofocus. And I promised our audience I was going to do a review on installing a snorkel.
Okay.
I started filming it, thought everything was great, and all the shots are blurry. And yes, so I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to do it with my phone. It's easy, and even the little editing software in the phone is great.
Yeah.
I mean, for what I'm doing with it. So when I seen your review of that, I was looking at Shure makes the same setup, and it probably is the exact same thing. More than likely, but Shure wants $275 for that.
Right.
And so I was like, I'll throw $60-$70 at it before I throw $300, basically.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
And
give you more money for other gear.
Right, but watching your it wasn't a long review you did on it, but I was like, okay, hearing somebody, especially once you get a voice that you like, I've watched your videos. I feel like, okay, he knows what he's talking about a little bit. So I trusted your review on that, and it's turned out it's been a nice little purchase.
Well, good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear it.
It was funny because I emailed you like with the picture. I was like, look, man, I bought it.
Yeah, that was funny. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm glad.
Right. So kind of what are some of the? I mean, you're doing reviews, you're doing trips, but if you had to say, what would be your focus? Is it more of the review of the gear?
I mean, speaking honestly here, like the gear review for me. So I'm a marketing guy. Like that's daytime job. Right. I do marketing stuff, right? So I know that the way that YouTube looks at it, and like, that's not my ultimate goal is to trick the algorithm or anything like that. But I also know that if you're someone that posts like one video that goes viral once, and then you wait a year to post another video, YouTube's not going to prioritize you over somebody that posts more regularly.
Right.
So then I just said, okay, well, the next logical step, what I see all these other guys doing. I mean, like, who is it? There's that one, it's that guy, and he's like, it's me, Ted, or whatever the guy's name is. I'll look it up and I'll ping you on it here later. But there's this guy that they were all just trip videos forever and ever.
Right.
And then the one guy from that group like split off and was like, I'm going to do gear reviews and like install videos. Mm-hmm. And they made a whole nother separate channel basically for it. And I was like, yeah, that's really smart, because then that gives me something. One, it gives me something I can do in winter. It gives me something I can do in, the heat of the summer. If I can't get out, like right now, I've got kids in Cub Scouts. I've got kids in soccer, and we're going on vacation in a couple weeks. Like I know for a fact I can't go camping again until like November. Right. So, to that regularity, that's kind of what got me into the gear reviews. But now I actually that's where a lot of my engagements come from. Mm-hmm. And so I really have. It started as a way to just be more regular with posting videos, and now it's kind of become the meat and potatoes of the channel, because I get people that engage, like kind of like what you just said, right? They're like, wow, this thing is really cool. Or, oh, you know what? I tried this one over here and it's better. Go check it out, kind of a deal. So So I do like the gear reviews. If I didn't have to have a job, I would literally like do van life. You know, like I would have a rooftop tent, I'd have solar, everything. I'd just travel around and like piggyback off my phone's Wi-Fi, LTE, you know, and work off my computer and just like live in my Xterra and take the family on trips around the country.
Well, that is like the cool thing. The way it's going now is that it's getting to be where it's just you can be a kind of vagabond and just and still make a good living. You know, just everything's computer based. But so but in the gear, man, the gear all goes back to the trips. You know, obviously you're either products, you know, they're giving you products or you're buying products to review. And at the end of the day, it all feeds back into your camping trips. Yeah,
exactly. Well, I watched your video of the CVT UFO light, and I was like, he says he has a buddy over there, and they sent him this light. And I literally, you know what I did? I watched that video, and then I went online, and I'm like, CVT, and I went to their website, which their website is awesome, by the way. When you scroll and like the tent opens up and stuff. Awesome website. But I'm looking and I'm like, how do I contact them to become friends? Like I was trying to see if they had like sponsorship or something.
Oh, well, I will say this, my buddy Bobby Culpepper over there, he's just left the company, but he was telling me, he's like, I get 400 emails a day from potential overlanders. I'll get this on videos. And, you know, of course, 99% of them are all just looking for free gear, but, yeah. So overlanding's really exploded. You know, when I got into off-roading and stuff, it was just you went camping. Now all of a sudden, it seemed like 2010, 2011, it was like, oh no, this is now called overlanding. And this is I'd never heard of it before that. I just thought, well, it's just vehicle-based camping. I don't, you know.
Sure.
But just the explosion, and it seems like to me, and I want your opinion on this, it seems like once companies like CVT and some of those that all of a sudden you could put something visible on your car. Yeah. All of a sudden it opened up everybody's eyes of like, oh, well, I don't have to go to Walmart and grab some just tent and you go to some state park and that's it. You can actually go places. Right. Did you see it that way? Was it once you could put gear on your vehicle?
Yeah. I think it's a combo of that. And then I would say the other big thing is, you know, kind of like we were just talking about a little bit ago, is the explosion of YouTube, right? Like, I mean, you think back to just like the early videos that you saw of like, here, I've got one of their stickers and I cannot remember their name for the life of me. It's the big one. They've got here.
X Overland?
Yes.
Yeah.
Expedition Overland, or there's the other one. They're all Toyota guys. They went to like Brazil, Southern America, South America, something like that.
Well, the X Overland guys did all those trips.
That's who I'm thinking of. Yeah. Expedition Overland guys. Those are who I was thinking of. And like when they started, they were really cool videos, but they were much lower quality than they are now, Clay and those guys. The interesting thing about that, so he did video for a living anyways. Huh. So and the off-roading was just sort of a hobby. Right.
And their early videos where they're in Moab and you know they're at a campfire and they're just sort of like, well, I'd like to go somewhere in Canada or somewhere that they wanted to go. And then a year later they did it, you know. But it was because of, like you're saying, YouTube gave them a platform to kind of explode with, and now those guys are pretentious jerks, honestly.
Oh, really?
That sounds horrible. But they've got $1 million operation now too. Like they don't play around, and they've got, you know, with companies like General Tires and a lot of those got behind them. And that's like those guys before that though were just daily 9-to-5 people that just sort of went and did it. But you're right about them. Those guys really opened it up. Yeah.
So then you see those videos, you know, and then it's like, so again, before I even bought the Xterra, I didn't know what overlanding really was either. And I was like, okay, I want to get back into off-roading. Mm-hmm. Like there's a couple off-road parks in Indiana
Redbird
that I've been to. Badlands, Haspen, you know, Redbird. I actually haven't been to Redbird, but I've been to the other two 15 times a piece probably. And I was like, I want to get back into that. And then I'm like, well, I'm a little older now. You know, like I've got at that time I had like a 5 and a 3-year-old, and I was like, I want them to be able to have fun. I've got to have room for their car seats in the back, you know? And so I was like, I started looking it up, and then I was like, I just stumbled upon overlanding, probably on YouTube, watching like an Expedition Overland or something. And I was like, oh, wow, it's not just about going and beating the crap out of your car and like showing your buddies how badass you are to climb a rock wall. Like you can actually be smart about your travels, not destroy your vehicle, but still go have a lot of fun, and then go camping, which I also like, and take trips and see new things. So yeah, it was kind of eye-opening for sure.
Right. And well, the X Overland guys, and I don't mean to crap on them because I do enjoy their things, and I've got to deal with them a little bit. But they hit it at the perfect time, and then once part of overlanding is it's not a status symbol, but it's part of your persona of what you see yourself as. And a lot of these guys, want to feel like, even though maybe they're not military, they want to feel like I've got this built up vehicle, I can go anywhere. Right. And I'm a part of that. I'm not crapping on that by any means, because that's kind of why my wife's Xterra is the way it is. But, but yeah, and then they started selling hats and everything, and then they started making money off of that stuff, And then so I kind of consider they're not really the first generation of overlanders, because there's been guys been doing this globally for decades, but they were sort of the first ones to capitalize on it. And then you have the what's the big forum?
Overland Bound?
No,
Expedition Portal.
Expedition Portal was the big one initially, and then because forums were big, and then you're getting to talk to people globally who do this, and us in the States, you see something from Australia, and we're all like, our mouths watering, like, I want to go drive one of those patrols or one of those Land Cruisers, but I think sometimes they're the same way as like, I want one of them Xterras, or and so once you start, it's global now. And then you get companies like Max Trax who start sending stuff to the States, and we're buyers. Like in the United States, we all want to buy
big time.
Yeah. So you see a piece of plastic like that, and you're like, well, how much is that? And you're like, holy cow, it's that much. And so, so I guess my point is, so the guys with Expo Overland did it, and then you have your second tier guys of like your Peach State, like who are not jumping on the bandwagon, but maybe they're doing it for just different reasons. And then there's, I mean, I can't even count the number of overland things, but a lot of them do quality videos too.
Sure. Yeah. I've recently met a whole bunch of them, and I mentioned a few, like, Overland Addict does some good videos. Revere Overland makes a lot of videos, and they're great. He just got a new drone too, so that's exciting. And then there's these other new guys that I just met recently called Northeast Adventure Company. They're out in like Maine area, but definitely check their Northeast Adventure Company. Their videos are like, I told them Ben is kind of the main guy over there, and he's a videographer / photographer by trade. And I talk to him all the time, and I'm like, hey buddy, you're like, when I grow up, I want to make videos like you make. Because his are like, they're the epic sort of like, zooming in and like the drone flies over, and I'm just like, oh, I got my little smartphone over here, and these guys got drones. And
I don't know if you checked out B-Roll Offroad yet.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So interviewing him on our last show, and he he's still just doing it with phones and stuff. I mean, he talks about getting a drone, but that does amaze me, because I'm a kid from the 80s, so I'm used to these big camcorders that you had on your shoulder. It wouldn't have ever been practical to do what we do now. And now you've got either it's the tiniest of the GoPros that you can put in your pocket, or your phone. It's so easy, and the sound's always good now. It's so easy to do it.
I use this a lot, my DJI Osmo Pocket.
Yeah.
This thing is amazing. Like, this is my only real camera. And it was about $300.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just teeny tiny, and you've seen these things, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it just, it's just automatically just like syncs itself up, and then it has the built-in gimbal and stuff. And this, I do all my B-roll with this pretty much.
Nice.
And then that allows me, except I'll set up a tripod every once in a while and like drive by it.
Right.
With my phone on it, and then, use this as a second view kind of a deal. But that's all I've got. Smartphone in the pocket. And I love it. I don't see the point in, I guess for me anyways, spending, thousands of dollars on lenses and DSLRs, and then I got to learn to use them too. I mean, let's be honest, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. And the older you get, the more, like, I used to love to figure all this stuff out. And the older you get, you're just like, I just need it done. I've got softball practice, or I've got to take my kid, I've got other places to be. So I don't have time for gear anymore, or to figure out new gear.
Right.
So you're doing your adventure videos and obviously your reviews. Where kind of do you see this going for you? Is it just kind of where you're at, or I mean, is there an end game for you?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I hadn't really thought about that. I mean, I think where I'm at right now is a good spot where I'll probably be for at least another year or so, probably. Meaning, and what I mean by that is just focusing on the gear reviews, focusing on the podcast, focusing on the YouTube channel, trying to get to that, coveted 1,000 subscribers. It's kind of my next big goal.
I know all about that.
Yeah. And it's tough. Like that's the toughest part is just getting there. Right. So like, again, in 3 months, if, I'm at like 245 ish on YouTube, I think right now I was about 80 in the beginning of July. So, I mean, I'm about 3 times what I was then. So, I just figure it, my kind of long-term goal is to build a community almost. Like that's my big focus, I think, is I'd love to get to the point where I could, I don't ever really think I'll make money off of it necessarily, like not enough to like retire and just do overlanding video stuff. But like just get to the point where like I am more well known in the sort of the overlanding community, I guess. And potentially maybe like a CVT might reach out to me someday and say, hey, we got a rooftop tent for you, buddy.
Hint, CVT.
hint, literally anyone, Smitty built, like anybody call me up.
Yeah, I'll do Smitty built right now. I don't care. Just something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually looking for like a used Smitty built overlander tent right now.
Yeah, well,
just because like everybody buys them. And then they're like, oh, I don't actually want to go camping all the time. I want to go 3 times a year.
Right.
Why'd I spend $800 on this? I'll sell it to you for $500.
Sure.
So, okay.
And what people don't consider is you have to store that. And you don't want to keep it on your vehicle all the time because weather does tear up things. And they're made for it, but it does over time tear up things. So, yeah, a lot of people. And me and my buddy with Toyota Trucks and Trails, we were talking, and he brought this up. He was talking about, he goes, I really feel like at some point the Overlander thing is going to kind of bust. He said, and then all of a sudden there's going to be a run on equipment of like you're going to be able to get rooftop tents for $50. That people are just done with them. And not that I'm holding out hope for that, but I am waiting for the cheaper tent to pop up.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like there are new options coming up all the time. I mean, it used to be really niche and they had to charge. It's like furniture prices, right? Like they know that one person's going to buy one in their life, or in the next 10 years. Yeah. But now it's like, with the competition getting more and more extreme, I keep seeing, and of course, China's going to enter that mix because they're making everything. Sure. I saw something though the other day that was like a hard shell, brand new rooftop tent type deal, like a clamshell design. And it was like $800 to $1,000 or something. And I was like, and it was like on, Indiegogo or something like that. And I'm like, these guys are going to crush everyone else. Like everyone's prices are going to have to drop.
Well, the problem is they're making them anyways, so, so it don't matter what rooftop tent company, I mean, they build things to their specs, but there's only a handful of people in China actually building this stuff. So, which is like, it's good that we can, could you imagine if China didn't build that, these rooftop tents would be $3,000, if not more. And then nobody, like you said, nobody could buy it. But I interviewed Tom over at CVT at Went the other day, and he was talking that I think he shipped out 7 tents that day.
Wow.
So, and that's just in their Chattanooga store. So, and they
that's
have
funny.
They have 2 stores. So clearly there's still a big market for it. And and at one time they were even talking about opening up a store in Vegas and one in Pennsylvania. Like.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like the new REI of sorts,
Yeah. Yeah. I love those things, I just think it's so interesting because like I go to like a Cabela's or a Dick's or a REI. I mean, REI is probably the closest to like an Overlanders type store, but most of those things, I mean, it's hunting and it's, guns and that's about it. There's a little bit of camping stuff, but there's not really any overlanding gear. Like they'll have big stuff that's not really meant for like long trips. They don't have, stuff that is meant specifically for overlanding. I've never seen like fridge freezers there or anything like that.
Right.
So if you have those sort of niche, like I saw Artemis was at Went, I think, right? Artemis. And I've seen a bunch of him. I think I followed him recently on Instagram or something like that. And like, I love that small sort of like, mom and pop shop idea, but with overlanding stuff.
Right.
Like, I just think that's super cool.
Right.
So,
well, when Walmart gets into the game, it's over.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I see ads for them all the time with all kinds of random weird stuff.
Well, yeah. Well, Walmart's trying to do the Amazon thing now, where they'll just, they'll let somebody else sell it and just put it under their banner. So with your vehicle, what? Let's kind of get into that just for a few minutes. What have you done to your Xterra?
What haven't I done to my Xterra at this point? So again, mechanically, it's excellent. I haven't done anything to the engine or transmission, exhaust, nothing. It's all bone stock. Suspension wise, I'll start there. So suspension wise, originally when I bought the truck, again, being the cheap person that I am, I bought the Rough Country 2.5-inch lift. So it's spacer lift up front, longer shackles in the rear. I still have the longer shackles on the rear, but since then I've pulled off the spacers up front and gone with the MK84s, Nistec. Yeah. So I've got those full coils. That's how I know Steven is. I put those on about 2.5 months ago, went to that West Virginia trip, did some rough, rocky water crossings and blew a shock.
Oh, no.
Like 2 days after I installed it.
Oh, man.
And I bought them used off of a buddy, but they only had like 15,000 miles on them.
Right.
So I called and I'm talking to Steven and I'm like, hey, is this normal? Like, should I like look at other coilovers? And he was like, no, that's not normal at all. We'll send you out a new, I had to pay for it, but I paid for a new shock and I got it. Now I've had it for about another month and it's...
What is going on, everybody? Let me talk to you a little bit about Lifestyle Off-Road. What is Lifestyle Off-Road? What do they do? Well, let me tell you, they make custom t-shirts, they make custom graphics, stickers, you name it. They also have their own line of clothing. I wear a lot of it, man. I personally like their designs and what they do and how they support, the off-road community and especially the Nissan community. So if you need something from custom stickers, I love you grandma, whatever you want to put on your car, maybe family reunion t-shirts, maybe t-shirts for your club or event, give them a shout over there at www.lifestyleoffroad.com or check them out on Facebook at Lifestyle Off-Road. Be sure to tell them the NNP sent you.
So you were saying that you had bought some MKs and Nistec, you had to call them and they handled that for you. But yeah, that's the thing is, you're talking being not cheap. I won't say you're cheap about it because I'm the same. I'm the same way.
Right.
But yeah, so you get the spacer and the ride's horrible. Like, with spacers because you're just pushing everything down and it just never works out right. So then you get some nice coilovers now. And you said in the rear you still have just the basic shackle on it.
Yeah, I've just got the 2.5-inch shackle lift back there, but with upgraded the Bilsteins out of an off-road trim Xterra. And then I do have overleaf helper springs. Yeah. Because I'm cheap. They were $30 for a pair of them. Yeah. You know what? I've had them on for about 1.5 years, and it definitely, I measured before and after, and it got me 1.5 inches back out of them. Nice. Now, I don't know where I am now. I might be sagging back down again, especially with my drawers in the rear now. Yeah. Got more weight than ever.
Well, that's the thing with the Xterra. They put soft springs in them. Yeah. And unfortunately, you put any weight back there, and they're sagging.
Yeah. So, leaf pack will be soon. When I do that, everything will be new. I mean, I've replaced upper and lower ball joints. I've got new Freedom Off-Road tubular upper control arms up front. I put a Renogy 100-watt solar panel on the hood of the truck, and then that pipes back through the car to my drawer system that I just built. Right. Just did an episode on that the other day.
I saw that
on YouTube and on the podcast. But a buddy of mine, because I'm not talented in woodworking at all, but he helped me build sort of a 2-drawer system and then a big slider for my water jug and my cooler, and I actually put my chainsaw in there too. I had enough room, and then that whole thing slides out on 36-inch sliders, and then a grill slides out of the side of that.
Oh, nice.
So I've got kind of a camp kitchen in the back, and that solar powers actually have a deep cycle battery built into that box, and a 6-switch panel with 3 DCs, a double USB, a voltage meter, and then like a master on off switch. Right. And so I wired all that up. So now I've got this like portable charging station in the back of the truck that I just use for everything. I plug all my cameras and chainsaw batteries and everything in there, and I don't have to worry about waking up with a dead car battery, starter battery the next day. So.
Yeah, my buddy was Smith Overland, who was building drawer systems like that. He kind of did the same thing. Like once he did his drawer system, he's like, I'm just going ahead and put new battery. Like he built a little box for the battery. It was really neat. Yeah. And I was able to get one of his final boxes he built, so I was real happy about that. But man, woodworking. No, my dad was a woodworker, and I'm a metal guy. I like melting metal. I can weld in that, but you give me wood, and I'm like, well, I can't. Like, how do you put it together? I'm lost at that.
Right. Yeah.
So kind of you sounds like you're pretty well outfitted, right?
I mean, at this point, yeah, that's the way I kind of look at it. Is the end game is a rooftop tent, and then I'm good. I mean, I've got a high lift on the roof. I'm gonna have to move some things around. I've got a Tough Stuff 8-foot awning on the side. So I'm planning to have the rooftop tent open to the passenger side,
Right.
awning off the driver's side. Hatch opens in the back, and I've got LED lighting back there, but then I've got that whole drawer system, so it'll be underneath the hatch. And with that solar especially, I mean, there's no reason why I couldn't. If I have enough internet signal, LTE signal on my phone, and I can piggyback off of it, I could go out and work for a week at a time,
Right.
you know, off grid if I wanted to. So that's kind of the long game, is to be outfitted like that. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Well, so kind of what's your next couple things? What kind of reviews can we expect?
Oh, that's a good question. You know, I'm kind of getting to the end of like video audio stuff, or so I think, right? Like right now I've kind of hit the end of that. I've heard a lot of requests for a lot of people asking specifics about the solar stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think there's a lot of people, just overlanders and non-overlanders, that are interested in that. So there'll
Right.
probably be an episode or two on that. Again, the drawer system was like my biggest recent thing, and I just dropped that episode, but that was more of like a benefits of a drawer system, not just my drawer system, but just in general, like what are
Sure.
the pros and the cons of a drawer system? What can you build it out of? That kind of stuff. I am working on an episode about the specifics of my drawer system, and I'm going to put something on my website too with like instructions, basically sort of a build sheet for how I built it. So if anybody else wants to do it, they can get that. But so I've got that coming. I've just been super busy, but I've still got a ton of footage from my West Virginia trip, which was pretty awesome a couple of months ago. So I released like a 3-minute teaser trailer for that.
Right.
But I've got a bunch more footage that I kind of want to put together. And again, the goal with that is, versus just being like, hey, here's a truck going through water, I want to be like, here's where we were, and here's, if somebody else wants to replicate that trip, I want to give them as much value as possible, where, you know, they could replicate it or say, okay, here's the GPS coordinates for this water crossing, here's this. So that's kind of why it's taking me a little bit longer, because I've got to do all that research and look back through all the data and the pictures and figure out where everything was. So yeah, because we made it up.
Well, so it sounds like you've kind of explored around the East Coast. I mean, do you plan on ever going west, or?
I do. I want to. I had some friends that went to Moab a couple of years ago, and I actually wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get the time off work. And then by the time I found out that I could, I checked it out. And you know how it is now, right? Like they get like 3 or 4 vehicles at a campsite a night.
Yeah.
And so I checked, and they were like booked 9 months out. I couldn't even go. Like
Wow.
I wanted to go. I had the time off, but there's no way I could camp.
Right.
So I definitely do want to get out there. My short-term trips, I'm definitely looking at Kentucky. I kind of want to go down to like Slade and go through the Native Tunnel and do some stuff down there, because I just think that looks neat, and that's only 5 or 6 hours for me probably.
Right.
And then so I'd like to do that this fall is kind of my goal. And then I'm a big winter camper. Like I like -10 degrees. I don't care. I'm perfectly happy to go out there. There's no bugs. The fire feels fantastic. You can drink beer and it makes you feel better. Win, win, win. So Upper Peninsula, I think, is like winter trip this year.
Really.
So
So that, and you're in extreme cold up there. So
yeah. Well, I went there 2 years ago. We went to Manistee in January, like January 5th, 2 years ago. And it was so cold. The first night it was so cold. I slept in my truck and I let it run for a while, and then I turned it off and just like snuggled down.
Right.
The second night it was so cold, I let the truck run for a little while, shut it off, went to sleep, woke up the next morning, turned it on, and the heat had melted the snow and ice below me and then refroze around my tires.
Yeah.
So I put it in reverse, and I'm like, oh God, don't tell me the transmission's broken. Like, why am I not moving? And I gave it a little gas, and it's like, and it finally broke loose, but it was actually frozen to the ground.
Oh, wow.
And those are the trips I like. Like, I'm like, yes, if my eggs freeze solid, that means it's a good trip.
Well, I'm gonna pass on that one.
Not many people like it.
Me and my son went to Windrock one time, and I didn't like. I was kind of bugging my wife, and it was during the downturn, and we didn't have a ton of money that I needed to be over there anyways. But
Right.
she was just like, enough of it. She's like, just go. So I threw my gear, or what I thought was my gear, in the back of my truck. And here in Nashville, like, we're at 600 feet. You get towards East Tennessee, you're 2,000 feet in the air or so.
Yeah.
You know, and it does make a difference. And I literally had just a cheap Walmart sleeping bag and a huge tent. I mean, like, just like an 8 or 10 person tent. So it wasn't holding any heat in at all. And my son kept pushing closer and closer to me because he was freezing. I'm sitting here freezing. And finally I was like, let's just get in the truck. And then I thought, well, we're not keeping it warm in here. I'm just going to start the truck.
Yeah.
And then I know I woke up probably everybody in the campground because I didn't care. We were freezing. And then then panic sets in because you're like, I don't want to leave the truck running and fall asleep. So it's like every 15 minutes you're like turning it back on or off. Like it was the worst camping experience. But I like cold. Like I'll take fall. You know, I don't mind waking up. We did American Adventurous did something in North Carolina a few years back.
Okay.
And we drove all night. Like Danny flew in. We drove all night to get there. And it was over by a URE over there.
Okay.
And man, woke up. I literally got there at like 6 a.m.
Okay.
Like the sun was rising and we were going to bed. But I remember the next night, like just the tent was froze. Like, but it was 70s during the day, but at night, like it was just ice, you know, all this steam coming off of you. And and that's about as cold. I liked it, but that's about as cold as I wanted to go.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm not like a polar bear or anything. Like I would never jump in freezing water. Those people in Alaska that like break the ice and jump in that. No way. I would never do that. But like, I think I like winter because one, I hate bugs and I hate rain. Those are like my two. I would rather go in negative 50-degree weather than in a rainstorm.
Wow.
There's one video on my YouTube channel where I think I was a little drunk by the time I made some of the video just because I didn't have anything else to do because I was trapped in the tent. It's pouring down rain. And like, it's just me all night, like talking to myself, basically like, it's been 3 hours. It's still raining. Like, it's the worst. Like you can't do anything. You can't have a fire. Yeah. So like, at least like in the winter when you have a fire and it's 10 degrees, like, man, you've never felt a better fire in your life than when you need a fire.
Right.
So
and then especially if you're tent camping, at some point water is coming in. Like if it's a down, like eventually your gear's getting damp anyways. So that sounds miserable. Yeah. I went to the Ocoee River in Tennessee one time, and we camped it. We came in at night right after work, threw our camp up, didn't realize that we were in like for a rainstorm, kind of a valley for just where it was all going to a creek. Oh, and like it just literally washed through the tent, and so being wet like that was no. I mean, going whitewater rafting was fun, but like coming back and it's downpour and you're still freezing is like no, thank you. Yeah,
rain is not cool. Bugs are not cool. Fall is the best time. I also like to go in the winter because then, I also have a lot more time. I feel like in the winter because there's no kids sports. You know, there's not really anything happening in Cub Scouts. So it's like the one time where I can be like, hey, honey, this weekend, what are we doing? Nothing. Okay, cool. Bye.
Yeah, I'm going camping. So you said Moab. Anywhere else out west that you kind of wanted to explore?
You know, I mean, I'd like to go all over the place. Like, I mean, again, that van life sort of mentality. I did an episode on that not too long ago, maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, just like on the van life craze and how similar it is to overlanding and how you could kind of pick and choose stuff from there to take over. Right. I would just love to almost like take a sabbatical or do like a work from the road kind of thing where I take like a month or something and go. I mean, when you have kids and stuff, that's a lot harder, right? Sure, I wouldn't do that until maybe like retirement is really realistically where I'm looking at that now. But I mean, I'd love to go over to like Washington. Like that area out there. I mean, Moab, Colorado, Arizona, all of the different, those areas out there are just beautiful. Like they're all different. I always equated them as the same. I'm like, they're all the big, buttes and rocks and Grand Canyon-y stuff, but they're all different. All those states. Denver is supposed to be really nice, lots of hiking and stuff. So,
you haven't been to Colorado then?
No.
Oh, that's your place to go, man. For overlanding and stuff. Yeah, there's nothing like the drive from Denver to Moab. And I've said this on the show before. It's like going through 3 seasons all at once. Nice. So if you go in at May, it's probably about 65 and raining in Denver. You go through the passes, it's a blizzard. Yeah. And by the time you get to Grand Junction, it's 90 degrees. Like within a 5-hour window, you're like, what planet am I on?
Where am I, right?
But then you get to Moab and it's like all red rocks. You're like, oh, I'm on Mars, so it all makes sense now. But yeah, that if you ever get to make that drive, it's the craziest thing, just everything you get to see.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely will. Sooner than later.
Well, that just, Colorado in general is just like for an adventurer, that's just like the dream state to want to be in. It's just the drive through Kansas is horrible. That's just that's the worst.
Been there for work, and it is, man, it's a weird place. Like it's super windy, super flat. Yep. We were actually in a Nissan Versa rental car, and I thought I was gonna die. You're driving down the highway, and the car is just like the back end's pushing out on you.
Oh wow!
You're just going 70, and it's just like getting picked up by the wind. And I was like, I'm a pretty good driver, and I'm not scared of much, but this is scary.
Yeah. Well, when they have the going on 70, I think it is across there, where they have the gates they shut down for wind. Like, it's bad when they like, no, you shouldn't drive on this road.
You can't drive a vehicle because it'll blow away.
Right. I guess, what was the movie? There's No Place Like Home. Wizard of Oz. I guess the Wizard of Oz was right. Your house blows away or your car. Either way.
Yeah. Car would be easier to blow away.
Well, so as we wind this down, man, what are obviously you have a website. What's the website address?
It's allthingsoverlanding.com.
All right.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Right. And the same thing for YouTube, right?
Yeah, if you pretty much anywhere you go, if you search All Things Overlanding, you'll find me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I've got a podcast, so all the major podcast channels. Okay. The nice thing is I kind of got into it as a way of sort of maximizing my content, because I know people like to, some people like podcasts better than video. Mm-hmm. But so if you are on YouTube, then you get to kind of see the visual with the podcast.
Right.
And then the podcast is sort of just the audio version of the video.
Sure.
So I want all that stuff too. So
well, good. And the cool thing about a lot of your videos is, I mean, you have some longer ones, but I like your little 3-minute videos. It's just like a quick hit, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, try to mix it up because, again, it's about the people watching or listening, like as much as I like to review gear and stuff like that, I want those people that are going to, be like, wow, this was really helpful, right? Like you with the video kit, like that's awesome. That's what I'm looking for, is just to try and give people as much info as possible, help them out, and, make them feel like they're part of the community is kind of my goal. So
right. And you have an Instagram as well, right?
I do. Yep. Instagram, Facebook, they're all Things Overlanding. So Instagram.com/All Things Overlanding, I think.
Okay. So. Well, what's the best way if somebody wants to contact you? Like if they watched one of your reviews and was like, oh, that's cool, I got some questions about it. How would they go about getting hold of you?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if you're watching the video on YouTube, definitely commenting on the video on YouTube is probably the easiest way. And I'm OCD as can be about that. Like you've seen it, like you
yes.
comment, I'm like, hey buddy, I'm right on there. Commenting back, but that way then everybody else can see it too. So that's kind of what I like about it. But the more direct route, if you wanted to reach me directly about anything, about trips, or if you have questions about anything, I do have an email account. It's just allthingsoverlanding@gmail.com. Or if you're a potential sponsor or CVT or Smitty Built, anybody like that, definitely email me.
Well, you heard that, guys. Like if anybody has
you've got a lot of friends that I don't have that I need to have.
Well, we'll see how we can help you out there. So you got the Xterra. Clearly, you're pretty happy there with it. You've got your channel that you're just now taking it seriously.
Sure.
You podcast, man. I don't know where else your media empire can go.
I don't know either. If I do any more, I'm never going to talk to my kids ever again.
This sounds like me.
I keep telling my wife, I'm like, maybe someday I'll get like some really cool rooftop tent for free or something. It'll make this all worth it. But right now it's just like, but again, I mean, I love to do it. I joke about that a lot, but like, I probably would say I spend 5 or 6 hours a week just on editing videos and making videos and things like that. But all it takes is just that one person to be, I mean, there's this one guy, I think his name's Joe, but he commented on one of my videos and he was like, hey, I noticed not a lot of people are commenting or liking your videos, but I just wanted to say I've watched all of them and they're really helpful and I really appreciate it. So thank you for doing it. And I was like tearing up, right? Like, oh man, like that right there renewed me for another 6 months,
Yeah. Yeah. Because, and I say this a lot just when people kind of bitch at Nissan, like your car sucks, they don't give, like Nissan's big thing is, and I think this carries on to life. Constructive criticism is great.
Yeah.
But if you do it in a positive way, people can change, they can fix problems. But if you're just like, hey man, your review just sucked, right. It's like, well, it just killed me. And you never know, like you just said, you help one person, man, and it just helps. So I challenge all of our listeners, go to All Things Overland and just hit subscribe on his channel. Much like our podcast, if you can ever get into the Google money, it just helps fund things. And it sounds like if you could just make a little bit of money to buy the next gear or whatever, like it would help your channel a lot. So
sure. Yeah. Never hurts, right?
That's right, man. And you know, you have a lot of content. It's
sure.
not like you don't, you know, you're not one guy like holding out on that one video for 5 months at a time. Wait, that's me. I'm sorry, guys. I'm waiting. I'm going to, but my next video will be my like 3-year review on my Titan because that's the last one I did. Nice. But anyway, so go over to All Things Overland and like I said, like and subscribe what he does and in any of the socials. And any final words, man, that you want to throw out there?
No, I mean, thanks, David, for having me on the show. You know, I appreciate it. It's been great to talk to you and great to talk to a fellow Nissan guy and Nissan folks listening. So thank you all for listening as well. And yeah, I mean, the thing that I always kind of end my shows with is live, learn, discover. That's kind of like my catchphrase, I guess, if you will. So, you know, watch videos, not just mine, but, you know, get on YouTube, listen to podcasts like David's. You know, there's a lot of good info out there. There's a lot of people like David and I and other people that want to help you guys out and do our best. So, you know, leave those comments, hit those like buttons, let us know how we're doing, leave, you know, feedback for us because it really helps us out. So thanks.
Well, there you go. And this has been All Things Overland on the Nissan Nation podcast. There you have it, my buddy Fletch. Hope you enjoyed that interview. I enjoy talking to people like that, man. It really, I like people that are, man, you know, a little entrepreneurial. They really see something and they want to do something. And for the most part, I think it's because of the love of what they're trying to do. It's not trying to make money or anything. And I think there is a good need out there for especially in the overland community of people that's not the Instagrammers, that's not just doing it for the gram so they can get 1,000 followers or whatever, 10,000 followers, and they're just doing it for the wrong reasons. They're all looking for that free equipment, and my buddy Fletch is not about that. Though potential sponsors, I'm pretty sure he would, if you want him to try something out, I'm sure he's not going to turn it down, but that's not really what he's about, and hopefully that interview kind of reflected that, and I did enjoy talking to him. And I do hope you enjoyed that. But as we wind this thing down for 2019, once again, I want to say thank you to everybody. I mean, everybody that's listened, that's shared any content we do, that's jumped on board with us on YouTube. It's a struggle, and it means a lot to us that you guys have, you know, that you like what we do. It really does. Like I can't say enough that the support you guys have shown us. And I know we get to do these trips and stuff, and sometimes it's like, man, I'd love to do that. But I mean, don't get me wrong, we love the experience, the personal experience that me and Danny and Holden get to do on these things, but we really do it because we want you guys to feel like you're a part of it. And I hope the videos that we've done this year, whether it be the one I did in Jackson Hole, or the last video we did on the Titan Adventure from Park City, I hope you feel like we represented the brand how you would like it to be done. If not, let us know. We're not, you know, perfect people. And I know I did get some comments early on the first video I dropped from Jackson Hole of, hey, I'd like to send more of the presentation and all this. And, you know, some of that's just through time constraints on the videos. I don't want some of these videos to be 4 hours long. And I don't have time to edit 4-hour-long videos, but I just wanted to give everybody a kind of a taste of what happened at that event. Of course, I did my first impressions of the vehicles. Then we got to drive them. I really think that the new Titan, the refresh of it, is in the right direction too. So hopefully you guys felt that way. We had the Versa that that Nissan corporate sent over. Stuff like that is all because you guys subscribe to us and share the content. And I really want to do more of that this year. You know, they've got potentially new trucks coming. They've got potentially refreshed SUVs coming. You know, I know the Rogue, there's been spy photos of that thing floating around. And I want to bring all that content to you guys. And the way I can do it is when you subscribe and like everything we do. So anyways, I really do appreciate it. And I know if Danny was here, he would say the same thing. if you've noticed, we've started moving some of Danny's truck content to our YouTube channel. That doesn't mean Danny, if you don't go to DeGrootex and still, like what he does and checks out what he does. We're just trying to centralize everything we do into the Nissan Nation podcast YouTube channel. So I know some of the content is older that you're seeing right now. Danny's had 3 years of this, so some of the content is a little bit older. But for those that haven't checked it out yet, go to Nissan Nation podcast YouTube, and you can see the struggles of Danny's trying to get his race truck together. And that's what it is, man. It's just a common guy with not a lot of money for a budget, trying to live out hhis dream of building a race Xterra. And whether it be you guys that are in your garage currently listening to this, and you're kind of going through the same struggles. Me and Danny we're just like you guys, man. We have goals. We want to build things, but sometimes money gets in the way. So I hope you really do feel like this show represents you guys. That we're just like you guys, because we truly are. Anyways, so from All Things Nissan here in Middle Tennessee to wherever you listen to us on the YouTubes, the earbuds, wherever you get the podcast from, I want to say thank you, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate, Happy Holidays, and we are out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all.